the Southwest has had for a long time is what I call impunity. That is, when crimes, violence have been committed against the people or a person by either individuals or, in many cases, by government agents. And these things take place and there are no consequences for impunity. We don't like that word. It's a word of injustice. It consolidates injustice in the society. And right here in the Southwest, right here in Arizona, we continue to have issues of impunity. Who are the people who enter law enforcement? I think, of course, societies want order. Of course, the development of a just law enforcement has a place in society, or it could have a place. However, that's not necessarily what is happening in most places now, because we like to hire people who are veterans of war. What do we do with a soldier? We train them how to kill. We train them how to kill an enemy. And when they leave and they go into law enforcement, they bring with them a militarized training. We no longer have what we call law enforcement, but we have a militarized control of population. And that's something that we don't look at. It happens with Border Patrol, and they immediately come up with names of calling migrants that are names like enemies. They become the enemy. People that live in barrios, people that live in poor neighborhoods, they are seen as the enemy. They are no longer citizens, or they are no longer community members. They become something else in the mind of a militarized training. And so, the long tradition of training people to be warriors, which has great honor and great integrity. And I suppose there are reasons for that. We live in an imperfect world. I suppose that, we try to have laws that keep the military for wars. But when we take people that are trained in the military and bring them into our communities, what are we doing? Is that what we should do with law enforcement? Is that what law enforcement is supposed to be? A militarized training? And we see that with the behavior of Border Patrol very often and all the time in certain ways. They do not look at migrants as anything but an enemy, a terrorist. So we have to ask questions here. I think in Tucson, a lot of questions have been asked to the city council, but we haven't really gotten down to, what is the training of a law enforcement officer for them to provide service and help to the community, not to control. We have the case of the Border Patrol killing migrants, and we have yet to find a case where it has gone to court, to trial, and the person has been found. So we have impunity.
Federal prosecutors say they will not pursue another trial against a Border Patrol agent who fatally shot a Mexican teenager across a border fence. Lonnie Schwartz has been acquitted of second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter, but both times juries deadlocked on lesser charges. Schwartz's attorney says the agent was acting in self-defense and following Border Patrol policy when he fired at least 16 shots at the boy.
José Antonio Elena Rodríguez era mi nieto. Pues es mi nieto porque yo todavía lo sigo nombrando. No me gusta nombrarlo en el pasado, me gusta nombrarlo en el presente. Él era un niño de 16 años que tenía ilusiones, tenía metas y que su único pecado fue pasar en ese momento por una banqueta. Este hombre tiró más de 20 balazos a la frontera y le dieron en su cuerpo, todos por la espalda, en la espalda y la cabeza. Lo destrozó. Fue un crimen cobarde. Un crimen cobarde que no pudimos ganar en los juicios. A mi nieto no, a mi nieto lo destrozó completamente. Hasta sus dedos tenía destrozados. Porque era una banqueta tan angosta y al mismo tiempo como honda, que ahí quedó pues tirado él y las balas que dieron en la pared, las esquilas, le destrozaron sus dedos, sus manos. Todo estaba destrozado. En los juicios vino una forense de Nueva York que ella, con un maniquí, ella probó todos los balazos que se le habían dado al niño, por dónde entraron, cuál fue el primer balazo. Su primer balazo fue en la columna, lo tumbó al momento. Todos los demás balazos se los dio ya tirados. Pero él, como profesor de tiro, como maestro de tiro, sabía dónde darle al niño para hacerlo sufrir antes de matarlo, porque la forense dijo que el niño estaba vivo cuando todavía le estaba disparando, y alzó su mano izquierda y la dejó caer, y en ese momento lo mató, le tiró a la cabeza y lo mató. Y dice que se le olvidó cómo hizo ese crimen. ¿Cómo se le va a olvidar cómo hizo ese crimen? ¿O cómo le van a dar un arma a ese hombre para que vuelva a trabajar donde tenga un arma? El juez no dejó que 3 testigos que eran clave para el asesino, no los dejó traer. Y vamos a seguir peleando, tenemos que pelear, porque no es justo lo que hacen. Aún si el niño le hubiera tirado una piedra por 10 balazos, por más de 20 balazos que tiró a la frontera, para esto ha servido ese muro que está ahorita, para que ellos metan la mano entre medio de los tubos y matar gente. Este niño pide justicia. Su sangre pide justicia, porque no fue una gota la que derramó, fueron litros de sangre. Litros de sangre. Quedó bañado en sangre. Se vació por completo. No le dejó un órgano bueno. No le dejó una pizca de chance de vida. Lo destruyó completamente. Es bárbaro. Y todavía se pone a llorar en el juicio, diciendo que no se acuerda cómo lo hizo. Teatro, puro teatro. ¿Por qué lo mató? ¿Por qué lo mató? Porque tiene una pistola en la cintura, porque trae un uniforme, porque trae una insignia en el pecho, o por racismo. ¿Por qué lo mató? Esa es una pregunta que se queda en el aire, porque él nunca la contestó. ¿Y nosotros qué? A nosotros nos destrozó el corazón para toda la vida. Para toda la vida. Nos hace falta un miembro en la familia. Hay un vacío en una casa y en nuestros corazones que no lo llena nada ni nadie. Y así vamos a aprender a vivir. Estamos aprendiendo a vivir sin Él. No más. Eso, aprendiendo a vivir sin Él. Porque olvidarlo, nunca. Porque no merecía morir de esa manera. Nadie merece morir, ni siquiera un animal. no merece morir así. Y menos sin hacer nada. Y aunque hubiera hecho, no merece su muerte. Es frustrante pensar que un ser humano tenga ese corazón tan negro, no más porque trae un uniforme. Y pues, es todo lo que les puedo decir. Nuestra vida cambió de la noche a la mañana.
Both the trials against Lonnie Schwartz, which were really trials against Jose Antonio. And to hear the students that were inspired, that the same students that are being arrested now. I'm not an activist, I've just been alive as a brown man on the border, and I've almost paid the full price of that because I've been a victim of gun violence. My family has been locked in generations of incarceration and poverty that we found impossible to break through. And even when we do get to higher academics, that's what we face. The criminalization of even talking back to them. Now CBP is an entity, a living entity which we have to fear and respect.
Friday evening, we begin tonight with breaking news from the University of Arizona. University police are planning to charge 2 students involved in an altercation with Border Patrol agents on campus. In a letter that was sent out tonight, President Dr. Robert Robbins says the 2 students will be charged with interference with the peaceful conduct of an educational institution, which is a misdemeanor. This follows the release of a video that quickly went viral of a U of A student calling Border Patrol agents, quote, murder patrol and an extension of the KKK. Officials say the Border Patrol agents were invited to speak on campus. Dr. Robbins said the protest was, quote, a dramatic departure from our expectations of respectful behavior and support for free speech on this campus. He goes on to say student protest is protected by our support for free speech, but disruption is not. The U of A Police Department will continue to investigate for any additional criminal violations.
People think that militarization just looks like, on the border particularly, it just looks like people in suits and guns and uniforms. But reality and militarization is a penetration of that way of thinking into our communities.
We call ICE in the middle night, and he says that anybody who's afraid of a police is a scumbag.
If these agents are not in uniform and you come in and start, running your mouth like that, they're probably going to get in some kind of trouble if they defend themselves there too. Yeah, I'll take the getting in trouble. I'm off duty and you come up like that, I'm knocking you out. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to stay there and let you belittle me and berate me. And chances are, if I'm there and I'm seeing another agent get berated, I'm going to go over there and knock you out then too.
And this is the time, if it's not now, you don't get to go back and rewrite history and pick the right side or make wrongs like that. I said, you don't get to make the wrongs right again. You only get one chance. And this is now.
The world is not made of saints and heroes. We're just all ordinary people. And too many people want to be a saint or a hero. When we work together, we really have to listen. I think that's been said. Learn how to listen. And learn how to change. Because we all come with different forms of baggage. And we all have different visions, maybe. We might have some that coincide. But as we work together, we can find ways that we can agree, ways that we can work together. But we also have to have mechanisms for how to deal with differences. Movements bring out sometimes the worst in us because we're so convinced we're right and everyone else is wrong. And a lot of people feel the same way, but they have different ideas. So we have to find mechanisms of how we can be together and work together and not tear each other apart. It's hard, but it can be done. People are doing it. A lot of people do it.
Well, authorities at the University of Arizona in Tucson have dropped charges against 3 students who held a nonviolent protest against Border Patrol agents speaking on their campus. During the March 19th protest, the students called border agents murder patrol and, quote, an extension of the KKK, unquote. One of the students filmed part of their encounter from outside the classroom where the agents were speaking.
This is supposed to be a safe space for students, but we have the murder patrol here. How about you talk about slashing water? How about you talk about taking the shoes off migrants, letting them walk through the desert barefoot? How about you talk about all the graves of unidentified folks?
All three students were charged with misdemeanors. On Friday, motions to dismiss the charges were granted after the American Civil Liberties Union and other groups led a campaign on behalf of the students.
Ordinary people, you don't have to be a saint or a hero. Just a person who cares, and we can do it.